Hello, so this is not the end-all, be-all knitting needle comprehensive review, but this is what I have and this is what works for me. So I'm going to start off with the Addis. So the oldest type of Addi set is just like the Addi click. I have the lace click, I have the short tips and the long tips. The long tips are, let me see if I can do this. Comes in a pink case. The color's a little bit off. This is weird. And it opens up like so. You have a little Addi pin up there. And then you can see that I have a few tips missing. But it starts at, I think these are size 4 through 11? Yeah, 11. 4 through 11, they're a longer tip, so they're not for like hats or baby hats or anything really small circumference, because the smallest cord I believe is 20 inches for that, versus for the short tips it's 16, because you can't, you know, make a circle with a longer tip obviously. But the only cords that Addi works with are the Addi cords. I have the red ones. I'm in the US, but I ordered from Amazon and they give the red cords. I also bought the blue cords from a yarn store in the US. Now for the older Addi set, it's just the they're still Addi lace. They're not the turbo ones, but these are the shorter tips. I think these are 4 inches when the other ones are 6. So you can do hats with these. And again, the sizes are, they go up pretty high. I think these are, where's my, let's say these are 4 through 11 minus the size US size 5. But the weird thing is that you can buy the US size 5 separately, but it just doesn't come in the Addi click set. It might now, but it didn't used to. I think it depends on where you buy it. The newest one is the Addi click squared. They have the short ones and the long tips, because I don't do a ton of like blankets or shawls, although I do some. I prefer, like for my quick projects, I do a lot of hats, so I wanted the shorter tips. These are, I believe they're like 3.5 inches, and they start at 4 and they go all the way up to, let me see what size it says, 11. So they aren't going up to too big of sizes, so it's not for the bulky stuff. But once again, they exclude the 5s? No, they actually have a size 5 in these. I think these in the olive wood and the bamboo have the 5s, but the older the original click sets don't. But these will work with all the same Addi cords, and you can use a 16-inch cable with these because it's the shorter needle. I think it comes with a 16-inch, a 20-inch, a 32, and a 40 size cord. It might come with more than that, but I know it comes with the 16 and the 20. The 20 is in the project right now, actually, which I will show you right now if I can fold this right. Okay. So this is the Addi squared lace tips. They aren't as squared as like the Knitter's Pride cubics, where there's a really squared flat edge on them, and I felt like my stitches wouldn't go around it easy. I thought they kept like getting like twisted. I have a set of double points in the Knitter's Pride cubics and I just could not get used to them. So I never bought another pair of them. But these are different. They have little nubs almost on all four sides of the needle, and that's kind of where your stitches, let's see if that goes into focus. You can kind of see them, where your stitches will sit in between those. They are loud because they're metal, but if that doesn't bother you, great. But they're the same, I think it's a lace tip. I don't think it's a turbo tip, because the turbo tip is more blunt. This is quite a sharp tip, not like piercingly sharp, but I like a sharp needle, so I'm not so much into the turbo ones. I'm more into the lace, like sharper the better. I don't have the really, I know there's a brand out there that's really, really sharp, and I don't have those, but I like the Addi turbos and the Addi lace. I use the Addi sock rockets for all my 2 at a time socks, and those are some really sharp needles because it's that it's the turbo finish with the lace cord or the lace tip. It's something else. Now this is just my regular Addi click short tip set. Like I said, I do a lot of hats and I really like them. I haven't had them for very long, but I do like them. I prefer the US blue cord to the red cord, which my set came with the red cord. I think that blue cord is a little bit softer, and it's what I'm used to with the fixed Addi circulars, because once again I'm in the US. I have a couple Addi fixed the sock rockets that have the gold cord, and I actually prefer that one over any of the cords, but I can't find them anymore. I guess it was discontinued. So I think that's always my luck. I like the stuff that's discontinued. But yeah, I mean, it goes, I don't know if it really makes you knit faster than any other metal needle. I don't know if there's really a difference with that, because I know that years ago their little campaign thing on YouTube and in all of the knitting magazines was, oh, knit faster with Addi, and I guess you can. I mean, they're really smooth, slick needles, so for your really smooth and slick yarns where you might lose stitches, they're probably not the best thing to be using, right? But I still think they're really versatile. I mean, it works with any yarn. This is just a cheap Red Heart soft acrylic, and it works well with that. Now on to, I've gone through the Addis, which I love Addi, my gosh. I can't say enough good things about them. I'm going to quickly talk about double points. I have a ton of different double points. I like the Knitter's Pride ones because they're the color coded. You have the wood ones, and I think everyone's a little bit different. I've never broken one. I have bent Knitter's Pride though, but they have a good not return policy, but replacement policy. All I wanted was one needle replaced that was just bent, and I emailed them and they actually sent me a whole set, so that's pretty cool. These are Lykke, it's Lykke. They're kind of new. What I like about them is that they have the different size sets. So these are the smalls. These, if you knit a lot of bulky stuff or you knit a lot of thin stuff, you don't necessarily need both sets. So if you just get the one, it ends up being a little bit cheaper in the long run. I don't think they have a set that has all of the sizes in them. But this one starts at, let me see, I think it's a size 3. No, why am I thinking size 3? Starts at a size 0 all of the way up to a US 5 in this set. And they have, let me show you a little bit of, oops, They have half sizes in there too. And I think these are the 5-inch. I think you can get 5-inch and 6-inch. These are 6-inch. I think this is the Umber set, like the gray one with the black case. It didn't really matter the color. I didn't really care. The only thing I have seen is the indigo one. Someone was knitting a white or off-white project at my local yarn store, and the dye from the indigo one actually rubbed off on the yarn. She said it washed out, but it still came off on the yarn, and I know that's nerve-wracking, right? So those ones are cool. It's very, very, it has a very smooth finish, but it isn't too, this is the driftwood set, what am I thinking? It isn't too slick, and it isn't like obviously like wood, because there's some sets that are so coated that you can tell that there's something on them. But no splinters. I like that the size, I wish this would focus a little bit better. Can you see it? The size is etched into the middle of the needle so that you're not going to rub that off when you're knitting. I've had other needles, especially Knitter's Pride actually, where the size rubs off after a couple of projects, and the only way I know what size it is because they're color coded, and I kind of know, okay, the green is a size 4 or whatever. Okay. Lykke also has circulars. They have the different sized, they have the short tips and then the long tips. I figured I'd want my two sets to match, even though I'm not sure if it's the driftwood or the Umber one. I think it's driftwood. Kind of looks like driftwood. In the gray case, I like the short tips because, again, for hats, these aren't really suitable for like socks because they're not, it doesn't go down far enough in size. But it's your good, it's a good basic. It starts, what do we have here? A size 3 all the way up to a 10.5. So it gives you a good range from your lighter weight yarns all the way up to a little bit of your heavy worsteds. I like these needles because you can use Knitpicks and Knitter's Pride cords with them, and I mention that because I don't exactly like the Lykke cord because it's way too stiff. Even though I knit hats, it's still so kinked, and they're cheap. They're relatively cheap cords. They're like, actually really cheap. They're like $3.99 each, which is a bargain because there's other cords that are really expensive. Addi cords are expensive. That's why you shouldn't use them, and shouldn't lose them rather. And it's a bummer when you bust one, or if you lose one, whatever. So let me show you one of the cords here. But I've had more success using a Knitter's Pride cord with it than so these are the the Knitpicks Radiant wood double points. They're like a mix of, let me see, yeah, like purple, orange, yellow, red. So I like them because they're the nice warm fall colors. I have the Radiant circular, the short tips. I got those a couple of years ago around Christmas time when they debuted. I really like those. So I figured I need the double points to match, and they were inexpensive enough. Amazon, you know. Figured I'd try them for tops of hats, doing socks, whatever. And next for double points, I talked about the Lykke ones already. I'm gonna move on. One of my first nice interchangeables was the Chiaogoo twist, which is the red. Everyone calls it the red set because it comes in the red case. I like these because you can get either the small set, which is sizes 2 through 8, or the large set, which is like 9 through 13 or 15, or you can get the complete, which is the 2 through 15. I got the small set because I don't really knit above a size 6 really, so the 7 and the 8 is nice to have in there just in case. Has a beautiful padded cushy case. So does the spin one, which is bamboo, but the twist one is metal, and it has a nice little pocket up in the front here where you can put all your accessories, put all your junk. I have all my cords. The thing with Chiaogoo is that you cannot use other manufacturers' cords with it, kind of like Addi. Nothing else fits those. In this case, because I bought the half set, it still has the slots for, let me put the right side up here, for your sizes 9 through 15. So I have other sets that go up to those sizes, and in that case, those sets didn't come with a really reusable, durable case, so I kind of put those in there. What I have in here, the wood ones here are Knitter's Pride Golden Light. That's what they are. I was going to say Melodies of Life, but that's not right. So on the other side here, I have the actual Chiaogoo needle tips. Some fell out because they're really small. These are my 7s. And I have the rest of my Knitter's Pride set. But my size 2s are on a project. You can get the Chiaogoo set in either the 5-inch or the 4-inch tips. I have a couple of both. I bought the 5-inch small set, and then I have a couple of needle tips that are 4 inches. I just went ahead. You can buy them separately. For my size 2s and 3s, sometimes it's nice just to have a 4-inch tip if you're doing like a smaller hat or a top of a hat, or you just want the shorter tip. Which kind of, now this leads me to the Knitter's Pride not Sunstruck, because that's Knitpicks, but I said it earlier. Now these are the Golden Light set. This was from several years ago for their Christmas holiday gift set. Now they're only available on Amazon, and they're kind of hit or miss. And they are sizes 4 through, I think, 11. And they're a longer tip. They're like a 4.5 inch, 4.5 inch tip. I like them because they have that same like Knitter's Pride needle finish, but it isn't sticky. It isn't like too glossy or too slick of a needle. It's just right. The needle tip isn't very like really sharp, but it's pointy enough. I mean, you can do some lace stuff with it. I mean, if you're really doing, you know, small lace work or shawls and stuff, it might not be the best thing, but it works for most basic knitting. I haven't had a problem with them. I don't think they snap easily. They don't, you know, they're really durable actually. The only thing is that the sizes might rub off, but then again, they're not on the needle tip themselves, so who knows. right? Okay. So Chiaogoo also makes a spin set, which is in the green case, and it's their bamboo one. Now the spin needles come with these, I just got a bunch of new ones, these new cables. They're clear cables, and they have that, like a swivel end, I guess. It makes it, it's different than their twist. It's different than pretty much any needle I've used. And it takes a little bit of getting used to, because you're going to think that your needle is coming out of your cord, but it isn't. But I really like these. The spin cables are, I'd probably compare them to the Addi cables, except they're a little bit thinner, but they are super flexible. Something mentioned about Chiaogoo is that they're small needles, they're small needle sizes, meaning 2 through 8 only work with the small connectors and the small cords. The ones that are 9 through 15 have to use the large, because the silver part that screws into the needle has, like, it's a different diameter for the small versus the large. So that's just something to note. Now I'm trying to make the most of my space in my needle cases. So I do store multiple sets in my Chiaogoo cases, because they have those extra little pockets for your other, for your 4-inch tips. So these are my spin tips. I bought, well, the actual set that came with the case was the 5-inch set. You can see my size 4s are missing. They're on a project right now. But they're all kind of like, let me do an 8 here. Oops. They're all really, the bamboo is really smooth, but it isn't slick. It isn't like your stitches are going to come right off that needle. The sizes are engraved or laser etched. They're not going to come off. It's not a paint. It's not painted on there. And these ones, just like anything else, almost anything else minus the Addis, you just screw it into the cable. I'm going to put my size 8s where they go. Now these are my, I store my Knitter's Pride, or my Knitpicks Radiance in the same case, just because I can and I need the storage. These once again are the purple, orange, yellow, kind of like your fall colors mix. I like them. They go down to, I believe, a size 4. They don't go down that far, but they serve their purpose. And I like the short tips because, again, you can make hats with them and stuff. I got some short tips of the Chiaogoo spins too, just because, you know, for hats or any other projects where my other needle sizes are tied up. But that's something good that you can do with Chiaogoo. You can get the extra tips in the sizes that you know you use the most. I use a lot of the small sizes, so I got a duplicate of a 2, 3, and 4, just so I'm kind of covered. Because if you work on multiple projects, you need that. Next up is Chiaogoo. I don't know, it was a few years ago. They released the mini needles, and then they released the shorties. The mini needles are super, super, super small. They're like 0.00 to 1.5. They're for sock knitting, really. But I knit my socks usually on a size 0 through 3, depends on what type of yarn I'm using. So when I saw the, these are just the shorties, the Chiaogoo twist shorties. I got these. They come in a cute little, their case is small because they are small. But it has this little hook thing over here where you can just hook it on your yarn bag. Sometimes I think it would sink to the bottom of a yarn bag. Mine's in a pocket, so I don't lose it. These have the mini connector as opposed to the small connection with the other Chiaogoo. So they have mini, small, and large connectors for their cords and stuff. These use the mini cables too, so they use small stuff. I have the little gauge thing and the ruler, and then it came with some stitch markers that are perfectly sized for this because they're tiny, tiny, tiny. So I put them up there. And you open the case and you find this little black bag thing. It isn't a bag, it's like a, I guess you can call it a case because that's what it is. You open it up, and there are your needles. Now you'll notice you have 2 of each size. My size 2s are on a sock project right now, I think. What are they on? Oh, they're on a hat. Yeah, I knew that. So I'm going to grab the 3s because that's probably the easiest. So they go from 0 to 3. And these are the longer of the 2 sizes of tips, or 2 lengths of tips. I prefer the longer ones. I thought I'd like the short ones for really like the socks and tiny, tiny, tiny circumference projects. My problem is that I have a hard time gripping these ones. These are like 1.5 inches. They're tiny. My hands cramp up when I try to grab those. But it's all your preference and what you can grab and what you can make. You can do there's connectors with these where you can make your longer cables. I have the little original thing, little original bag that came with the cables. So for the minis, you get, in the original set, because I bought more cables obviously, you get a 5-inch, a 6-inch, and an 8-inch. There's also like you can get a 20, a 16, a 20, a 32, and I think a 50. Yeah. For those people that do lace and stuff, if you do long shawls but you want an interchangeable set that goes down to a small size, this is your go-to. It's good for sweater sleeves too. And like baby items, fantastic for that. Now, for those smaller circumference but larger yarns, they also thought of that. So these are the same concept. These are the shorties, but they're in the larger sizes. These, and it doesn't really even go up to for your super bulky yarns. This also comes with some, I don't know if you can see that, some stitch markers, but they're larger. And all your little doodads and tools and end stoppers and your connectors and all that good stuff, and your little ruler. Now these are easier to see, and you might not lose these in the couch because the needles are fatter. They use the same, well, they use a Chiaogoo cord, obviously, but once again, for these you get the 5, 6, and 8-inch is what it comes with. Mine came with the blue ones, and then I got the red ones that are separate. But again, you can buy any of the small of the mini, or no, I'm sorry, you can, for the sizes 4 through 8, you can do the small. So even the cables that come with the small twist set, you can use these needle tips. But they're good for your sweaters, they're good for like baby hats, but in the larger yarns, you can do socks with them if you wanted. But obviously you can see that these are bigger, and they still have the option for the longer. I think that's no more than 2 inches. That probably is 2 inches right there. And then this is like 1.5 inches. Now these ones I can hold without my hand cramping. It's the smaller, teeny tiny size that I can't. I don't know why. But there's still the stainless steel. They still have the, I'm trying to remember this, relatively sharp tip, but they're not razor sharp. I guess that's because they're the bigger sizes. Ooh. And those cables aren't not too expensive. They're like $5 each. Depends on what you're making, how many of each cable you need. The 5, 6, and 8 inch is good to start if you're doing the smaller, like the hats and all of that. But if you're doing like lace, or you want a shorter tip, but the longer cable, you need to buy the extra cables. But they go up to like 50 inches. You can do a lot with those, and they're, obviously they're compact. And you're not going to find a needle that is that short. Now, Knitter's Pride Ginger is probably, it's a large case. Hold on, let me maneuver my stuff here. It's a very large case. It's very, maybe I'll fit up a little bit. It's very nice, but it's also very bulky. It's not my travel set, at least. It stays at home. And this again uses, you can do the Knitpicks cables, and the Knitter's Pride cables, of course. These are a wood set. They go in the set. When you buy them, it comes with a size 3, but you can buy the size 2s separately. And it also, I guess like its claim to fame, I guess, was that you can flip it around, and these things on the sides are like your pattern holder. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, you take these, where are they? The little leather strappy doodads, and you put them over, and then you can put your pattern in here, and then this thing's magnetic, and you can, move it up and down, see where you're at in your pattern. I don't know, kind of kitschy. I don't know, like a gimmicky thing. But they're shorter tips. I think you can get the long tips. But this is the deluxe because you can use the 16-inch cord. You can make hats with it essentially, or smaller circumference stuff. But it goes up to, what is this size here? It goes up to a 17. So you can knit some pretty bulky stuff without having to get an extra tip. I think it goes up to, you can get a 19 on mine. I'm pretty sure. But it uses just the Knitter's Pride Knitpicks cords if you have either of those sets. It comes with some of them. The cords that it comes with, I use the set. I just use the cords that I already have. It comes with these brown cords, and then there's the end stoppers. for every side, and then you got your key thing to screw the needle in. I've never really had a problem with them coming apart. That's more, sometimes that's Knitpicks, but Knitter's Pride never really had that problem. Yeah, so these are, what size are these? Does it say? Oh, it says it on the needle. Duh. Yeah. This is a, oh, it goes down to a 2.5. 2.5. And then that's a 3. I got a 2.5 and a 3. Just for all my needs, I guess. Knitter's Pride is a good wooden needle company. I like them for the wood needles. That's all I have from them. I don't have the metal one. I'm not sure if they make bamboo. They might. But I got, the first set I got was, I'd say maybe 4 years ago. These are the Knitter's Pride Dreams. They're all the different colored needle tips, and they coordinate with the Dreams double points, so you know if you use a yellow that's a size 5 or whatever. But I like them because they come in their own little case. And it's pretty durable. I mean, I've had it for a few years. It's not anything anywhere near it like an Addi. Or, of course, the other, the Ginger set. That is probably the most durable case ever, right? But these are a size 4 through 10. So these will get you pretty far. They're not super short tips like the, obviously the Chiaogoo shorties, or the Knitpicks short sets, but they'll knit hats. I guess everyone is different, like the tone on the wood and the grain and all that. I have a lot of the cords. You can see a price tag on this one. It was $2.99 at a local yarn store. So that's something good about Knitter's Pride, is you can use the cords with all the different sets, and the cords are cheap. I've never snapped a cord, never broken a needle. They're pretty durable, actually, and they're quite reasonably priced for what you get. The only thing is that I have scraped the size numbering off of some of them, especially my 4s and my 7s. My 4s, 7s, and 8s barely have the sizes on them. Now, I'm the fan of the Knitter's Pride Dreams. So, when I wanted like kind of a sharper tip, like more of a metal tip, but like that wood needle, the Knitter's Pride Royale is the answer to that. Because you have that warm needle, but the tip glides. So, I'm sure that this one was a Christmas set years ago. I'm absolutely positive. So these once again go from your 4s to your 10s. I think these are a little bit, nope, they're the same size as the Dreams. They just look a little bit shorter. Now, the only thing about these is that they have a little hole, I don't know if you can see that, in the tip, and I don't know why that is. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't catch on my knitting. I just wonder why it's there. Is it a thing for a lifeline? I don't know. Oops. Because I don't think it doesn't go through to the other side, so I don't think it's for a lifeline. Huh. The thing I will mention about Knitter's Pride is that you can rub the size number off the wood itself, like I've done to my dreams needles because I use them. But it also has, I hope you can see the size on that. It also has it, it's really light. It's hard to see on the video. But it says it on the metal connector too. So you're not going to rub that off, just on the needle itself. I don't know if the older stuff like that had that, or if that was just like that new added thing. Now because this was not, this isn't the deluxe set, I don't think. It just came with 2 cords, which was fine because I'm Knitter's Pride queen. Anyway, I have the cords for it, but it comes in this convenient little zippable pouch, and it's all like Paris themed, and it's all embroidered on the back. It's pretty nice and compact. You can have all your cords, your connector, all that stuff right there ready to go. And the newest set that I haven't heard a lot about from Knitter's Pride is the Knit and Sip. This is new. It's brand new for this year. Once again, Knitter's Pride stuff usually goes from 4 to 10, but this is 4 through 11, so that's a little bit like, ooh, you know, extra if you knit some bulkier or heavier worsted weight stuff. You might like that. All of the needles, like, well, the theme is coffee. So it's from the lightest to your very darkest. So your lightest is, I am not a coffee person. Dorado, you can kind of see the name on it. And once again, your needle size is engraved actually on the metal connector part. So that's cool. You're not going to rub that off. They are longer, so not for your 16-inch and smaller cables. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. Like this is ristretto for the size 11s. So these are cool. This is, what is this? As a side note, these are stored in a Knitpicks case because the Knit and Sip set comes in like it comes in a gift box. And unless you want to store them in the gift box, it's not really practical or portable or anything like that because it's quite thick, it's quite bulky. So this is a Knitpicks case, and the Knitpicks case holds, you can have 2 sets of interchangeables, and then on the other side, the other inside of the case, I'm trying to hold it a little bit better. I'm just trying to hold it so that needles don't fall out. You can put your cables, your connectors, your notions. Of course, because this is a coffee themed set, the cords are all brown, nice. On the other side, I have, it's a Knitpicks Rainbow. I have a few sizes of that. I liked these because years ago I got there was just a random bag of knitting stuff at a garage sale, and there happened to be a pair of these rainbow knitting needles, and I spent years thinking, gosh, what were those? What brand was that? And I stumbled across these, and yes, they were the Knitter's Pride or Knitpicks Rainbow. So those are pretty. I don't think they have the option for a short tip set of the rainbow. I think it's just for the radiant and the one that's like the blues and the greens and the purples. And for the sunstruck ones, it's like a bamboo. But these do not have the size written on the metal. So you just have to read it off the needle. Or no, they do. I'm thinking, gosh, I rub it off. No, it has it way up on the metal. These are a 10.5. Kind of hard to see in this light. But they are engraved on that, so you're not going to rub those off either. The only thing I've found about Knitpicks is they're not good. Well, at least the my Radiant set, I got them for Christmas one year. I loved them for indoor knitting. And then I went outside to knit in the summertime. And I found that they were sticky and that, like, the coating did a weird melty, sticky thing. So I actually stuck with my metal needles for that, you know, for summertime. But they're really pretty. And if you like pretty needles or unique needles that aren't just your regular metal, they can be your go-to. But they're all different. They all look like dip dye or tie dye. The colors are more vibrant than the videos kind of picking up. Would that be better if I put my hand on it? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But they're really smooth. They don't have a sharp tip. Obviously, you know, wood isn't the sharpest that you're going to get. If you're looking for stiletto sharp, you know, that's more of a metal tip thing. But they have a good enough tip. I haven't really had a problem with them either splitting yarn or not being able to do the tighter stitches. They work just fine. They're reasonably priced. Knitpicks stuff is not cheap, but they're reasonably priced needles. They have a 1-year warranty, so if you're like me and, you know, maybe you snap a tip because you put them in your yarn bag and then you put something heavy on it and it's been a year, you need to replace it yourself. Ask me how I know. So, but yeah, they're inexpensive. If you want extra tips, you can buy the extra tips for, I think, any of these sets, I think. Like if you use one size more than the other or you want to have an extra, you can buy the additional ones. I think for Knitpicks, they're no more than like maybe $10 for the bigger sizes. But they're like $7 for your extra tips. And that's just about the going rate. Same thing with Chiaogoo. Addi is expensive though. If you want an extra Addi tip, those will run you about $20. Those are expensive. Just because right now you can't really find the extra Addi tips on like discounted sites like eBay or Amazon. You can find the sets, but not the tips. But I have been able to find like Knitpicks Knitter's Pride tips on Amazon, no problem. You know, they're not that hard to find. And then with the Chiaogoos, you can find the 4 inches or the 5 inches, whatever you like the best. I think the 4 inches are harder to find for the complete sets. That's why I have the 5 inches. I think the yarn stores sell the 5 inches like most commonly. I don't think I've found one when I've looked for the 4 inches. That's why I have the 5s, but they work just fine. Those will get you through with hats or, you know, your shawls, anything. You know, I can't think of anything that you would absolutely need a 4-inch tip for. Maybe smaller hats, or if that's just what you prefer. But it's all about preference, I guess. The Lykke ones are kind of, they're newer. They're supposed to be like, I don't know, eco-friendly or something, all like responsibly sourced and all of that, and that's great. But most of those are available in yarn stores. I have seen them on Amazon though. They're pretty reasonably priced. They're more expensive than They're somewhere between like an Addi, which is very, very expensive usually, and like a Knitpicks. So, you know, they're nice enough. But those are my favorites. I didn't really find a YouTube video that was recent and comprehensive and from the US. So I figured I needed to put one out there since I had quite the variety. As for favorites, I think it just depends on what project you're doing. At this time, I like my Addis. I really like the Addi, the square ones. Those come in a really nice case, as I've shown before. It's kind of like a denim-y one. I think they're more widely available than they used to be. There's a long waiting list. I guess for a while they said it would be available in the springtime of last year, and then it kind of got extended, and depending on who had it and what countries had it and where you could get it from and ship it, then you got it. But I like them. I'm very pleasantly surprised. I figured I wanted to try them, but I didn't have that great of an experience with the Knitter's Pride, the square ones, the cubics. So I didn't know what to expect with this, but I saw the reviews on those, like comparing those to the Addi square ones, and people seem to like the Addis better if they didn't like the Knitter's Pride, for the same reason that I didn't. They're a rounder square, if that makes sense. So, you know, you still have the click sound with them, which some people don't like, but obviously they're Addi click. But they're click because of how they screw into the cord, which took me forever to find out. Like, let me grab one so I can find where I put the cords. So compared to other sets where you twist them in and you hope that they're tight, you take the Addi, you take your needle, you put it onto your cord. Let me show that again. First of all, that's not going to stay. And you kind of screw it in, you push until you hear a little click. I don't know if you heard that. And then they're like, it's like spring loaded. So you push it in, you let it go, and then you kind of pull on it to make sure that you have it in there, because it has to catch. There's these little grooves on the cord. Let me see if you can see it a little better if I do that. There's these tiny grooves on the cord where you need to put the needle in, and you push it. You don't just twist it on. You push it and then you twist it away from you. And see, I'm pulling on it. I'm yanking on it, and it isn't coming apart. And then if you want to undo it, you push the cord in and you push the needle toward you. And then it comes out. So just like that. But it took me forever to figure that out. I was thinking, oh my gosh, these people are crazy. These don't really click. And I guess with the old sets, there was a problem with them really not clicking. But if you're someone that has a problem with your cords coming out of your needles, no matter what you do, Addis are good for that. Because as long as you have them clicked in, they're probably not going to come undone. I mean, obviously, like, watch your needle and, you know, make sure it's not trying to pop out. The only set that I had a big problem with, actually, was the Boy Needle Master, those would come apart constantly. But I learned to twist them back all the time. After a row or two, I'd tighten them. And I just got in that habit. The Chiaogoos have the screwy end is on the needle. So as I'm knitting, I can kind of see if that's starting to come out. But I haven't had a problem with those, especially with my 4-inch ones. It seems like I don't have that problem so much. Maybe with 5 inches I do. But really not with the 4-inch. And if you use the little grippy thing and the tightening tool, I don't have an issue with them. So I figured this was a comprehensive review. I haven't seen one on YouTube that goes this into depth and does the pros and the cons, especially something more recent. I have seen the ones like, okay, for the Knitter's Pride Dreams, yeah, like those ones, but those are quite a few years old. By the time I got them, they've been out for, gosh, several years. But I know that I reviewed some of the Knitter's Pride gift sets that are limited edition. You really can't find them. Like, I didn't do Melodies of Life on this one because I don't have that one. But, like the Ginger one, I don't know if that's available anywhere but like Amazon now. Maybe it's available with webs, I don't know. But, yeah, I do realize that I reviewed like Christmas gift sets that you might not be able to get. But it's all about preference, and you know, sometimes you can find them cheap secondhand, sometimes you can find them on eBay. So I figured I'd put them in there, some of the newer stuff, especially the Addi squares, because I didn't find a lot of videos on those, except for, oh, Yarnsters, oh, we're going to have them. Not really the reviews of them or the pros and cons.